Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. This week I finally figured out, well, not this week, I mean it's freaking Monday, but this past week I should say, I finally figured out where we ought to put the garden, where we ought to move it to. So I wanted to share it with you guys because I'm pretty jazzed about it. Plus it's absolutely gorgeous out. It's like 10:30 in the morning right now, 73 degrees, like beautiful breeze, like it's fantastic. After I got done doing chores, I actually came and I sat with my feet dipped in the pool or in the pond over there, just totally just relaxing and just letting it all just flow away. Like it was beautiful. I desperately needed that. Like I've been so burnt out and so stressed out and overwhelmed lately that it's been really hard for me to try to ground myself. Plus the weather has not been conducive to sitting outside in the grass like I am right now. Like I don't have no shoes on. Like this is perfect. But so anyways, we ended up deciding that the best place to put the garden is actually where I'm at right now, sitting in the front yard. So it is kind of hard for me because I am the type of person that I like to actually be well hidden from the rest of the world. I don't like being seen. It's kind of one of those, facing your fear things that I film, that I actually am documenting any part of my life at all, because I normally just sort of like to be kind of invisible. So it's just kind of going to be an interesting thing. Like when we lived in town, our garden was on full display. Like we were on one of the main roads in town and stuff, like the next road over. There was one main road that ran through it, and then one road over was where we were at. So it was the main cut through. So it had a ton of traffic. And, my garden was just on full display, like, 12-foot tall sorghum canes and like all sorts of stuff. Like it was crazy. But, it is what it is. But so I had a hard time when we lived in town of, the garden being visible from the road. I didn't like it. I always felt really uncomfortable being seen, being noticed, all of that stuff. So, that's part of why I challenged myself to start doing the YouTube and stuff to try to get over my fear of being seen, which I have no idea why it's that way. I've been this way ever since I was a little kid. I've shared with you guys that when we were little, me and my sister, whenever a car would be coming down our road, we would yell car, and then both of us would go and hide. Like that was just what we always did, kind of like a little fairy or something like that. But, it's always one of those things where I've always felt that I just needed to be tucked away, safe and sound, tucked away where no one could see me and stuff. But, it seems like every time that I try to hide away and I try to run away and stuff like that, life gets crazy and chaotic to where then I'm pushed back out into the spotlight, into living in full display. So it's just one of those things. I remember one time, man, this is like story time. Like, I'm so sorry if you guys came just to find out where the garden is. Long story short, it's going to be in the front yard here. Now, back to story time. Okay. I remember this one time when we still lived in town, these Jehovah's Witnesses, they actually like showed up at the door and stuff to talk to me, to ask me about a bunch of questions. And I ended up asking them a bunch of questions, and we talked for like over an hour. It was kind of cool. I like learning about other people's belief systems and stuff and being really just wide open. But so anyways, they were talking about, being seen, and they had asked if I would come and speak to them, like to the women's ministry thing, about some of my beliefs and stuff. So that way I could be seen and they could also learn from a different point of view and stuff. And I was like, no, I don't like being seen. I don't like being seen. Like, I can't. And I had told them, I grew up in a Baptist church. So I'm not any denomination. I don't go to church anymore. I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in a lot of energies and just, working with Mother Nature and the divine and things of that nature. But so I had told them that I didn't feel comfortable with that, but, that I also felt like that if I ran away from my purpose too much, that it would almost be like Jonah in Nineveh and stuff, like how he didn't want to go to Nineveh. And the town that we live in right now is honestly my Nineveh. It's kind of funny because there's been so many different times in my life where I felt really called to do something, and then I tried, because it scares me, I try to run away from it. So then I don't do it. And then life gets really heavy, really chaotic. Everything starts falling apart around us, and everything's just basically just going to hell in a handbasket, for lack of a better phrase, and stuff. And it's like, I realize that that's starting to happen again. So I'm like, okay, I need to just show up and stuff. And whenever I pretty much put it out to the universe that I was ready to, live my purpose and do what I was meant to do and all that stuff, then that's when I finally had the breakthrough moment, the epiphany of where to put the garden. So it's kind of funny because in town, I didn't like how we were on full display, but I kept telling my wife, I said, I feel like this is like how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to show people that this can be done anywhere. and stuff, and that I'm supposed to live on full, like in full display and stuff, that is part of my purpose. And yeah, so here I am again, having to put the garden right on full display, right in front of the road and stuff. But I mean, it is what it is. This is a pretty good suitable spot for it, despite the fact that it doesn't get a whole lot of sunlight over here. It gets probably, I would guesstimate, probably 6 hours of direct sunlight a day, and it's completely in full shade for all of the afternoon sun. So it's all the morning sun, which plants really like that. They really like having morning sun and then afternoon shade. So that way when it's in the hottest part of the day and the sun is in the scorchiest zones, then it's much better. So I actually have the rabbit tractors now are all in the garden space right now. I obviously have not tilled anything. I haven't broken ground. I have fence posts laid out because I still need to put them in. This is sort of just in the works, in the development stages and things of that nature. So this area over in here, it will get the most amount of sun. So I'm going to actually try to put like tomatoes and super sun loving crops way back down there. And then also I'm going to do some in containers so that way we can move them to sunnier places if need be. So this area is nice because it's really close to the pond. I love sitting in this area. I love looking out over the view. I like watching the wildlife over there. You know, like the deer and the geese and just turkeys and everything. It's gorgeous. But this is also where Tracy and I really like to congregate and spend a lot of time because of the pond and listening to the water trickle and just the view and, you know, the view and you know, it's really nice. It's convenient. So I think this is going to be a really great spot to actually have the garden. Like originally when we first started on this property, we had actually envisioned that this whole area over in here would be filled with a lot of trees and flowers and just beautiful abundance and stuff. And now it's finally like taking shape slowly but surely. It's just gonna look different. So it'll be my envisionment of what beauty looks like, of what a beautiful landscape is. And that's, you know, filled with fruit trees and, you know, fruits and vegetables and abundance and just wildlife, bees, and just everything as like a whole living ecosystem and stuff. So yeah, this is going to be kind of one of those like Garden of Eden sort of experiments where I'm not doing like wood chips. We don't need help with adding more moisture to this land, so I'm not gonna mulch with wood chips. I'm gonna do it pretty much in the exact same way that I gardened when we lived in town. I'm gonna just do it like that, follow my heart, follow my soul the whole way through and through, so that way I can live on full display for you guys. I can show up the way that I'm meant to show up. So yeah. That's it for today. I'm actually probably going to go sit over and dip my feet in the pond again. I had done that earlier before I filmed, and that was actually really nice to do. It gave me a lot of peace, a lot of clarity. It was really nice to just sort of wash all of the stress away and just let it all go down into the ditch and, you know, off to Neverland or wherever it's going to go or whatever creek it goes to or whatever. It's nice to do that. Let it all go. So anyways, I'm going to go do that for a little bit longer. There are some storm clouds coming in. It is calling for some rain later, so trying to take advantage of the really nice weather while I can. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.